The D23 Expo just wrapped up for this year and they announced a whole lot of nothing. Still, I followed along to hear all of the company's new projects and future plans. So here are my thoughts on the D23 Expo 2019 announcements. If there's a piece of news I miss out on sharing, that's probably because I just have a generic "that's dumb" response to it. That happened a lot this year because I don't feel like there was one amazing takeaway from the expo. At least in 2017, they had things like information on Galaxy's Edge and Pixar Pier, which was totally unexpected. But regardless, as long as the new projects are interesting, that's all that matters. None of them were this year, but let's start breaking them down. First, we've got a documentary titled One Day at Disney. All cast members are amazing. I love the miniseries Every Role a Starring Role that Disney randomly posts on their YouTube. But this is totally just damage control for all of the articles that have been coming out that share the poor working conditions cast members deal with. Knowing what Disney did to their own story in Saving Mr. Banks makes me really hesitant to get excited about this. They totally changed their history to make themselves sound great. If they announced this documentary a few years ago, I would have been so excited. But now it just feels like a manipulative mess, especially since this was a big secret project they were so excited to share. It actually blows me away how they managed to have so little emotion come out of this trailer. You know, if you squint your eyes really hard and look real close though, you can see absolutely no expression coming out of these things. Also, why does this rendition of Bella Notte not sound Italian? That is the most notable thing about that song. It'd be like if they sung Be Our Guest in an American accent. Oh, this didn't make me nostalgic or emotional. It just reminded me what a sellout Disney has become with their remakes. It totally blows my mind that people still get surprised when Disney announces the new things they're rebooting. It's inevitably going to happen to everything, so can everyone stop praising Disney for bringing back your childhood? I never got into watching this show, but I love the Lizzie McGuire movie and I think Hilary Duff is great. I guess this was the best option to make a grown-up version of because Lizzie is the most innocent, advice-giving character Disney has, but this is just not necessary. Why doesn't Disney, the company who prides itself on its ability to make magic, let people use their own imagination to picture what happened to these characters after their movie or TV show ended? Bringing it back means possibly ruining their image. Why? This really shows how Disney's just scraping the bottom of their own barrel for things to reboot. I liked the show well enough when it was first released, but by gosh, that story is over. They already had the longest summer vacation in the history of summer vacations. Seriously, nothing is sacred anymore. I ask this every time Disney announces a new remake or sequel, but why do people not understand the beauty of something that ends and stays ended? There's something really powerful about a movie or TV show that can stand on its own. I hate how this makes the original movies totally ingenuous. How do these kids know all of these songs if Troy, Gabriella, and all the other characters were actually supposed to have been singing and interacting with each other while doing it? They weren't putting on a show the whole time, they were just living their lives. I've been on a real High School Musical kick lately, especially since I've been looking at all the new terrible Disney Channel shows and movies being put out. High School Musical holds up as one of the greatest things Disney has done, definitely the best thing that's come from Disney Channel. What made it so special though is that it came at the right time. It was a product of its time. This new show, which Disney has to specify isn't a reboot or remake, acknowledging that that's all they've been putting out lately, is the most disgusting thing I've seen all year. Not only does it totally destroy the legacy of such an amazing franchise, but it's a product of today's time and that makes me sick. Disney is the worst company at giving social commentary because not only are they totally manipulative, but they have no idea what it's like to be a teenager nowadays. It's like they wrote these characters after going on Twitter for an hour and then seeing the word triggered a millennial being used. This isn't going to be funny, it's not going to be charming, it's a disgrace to an iconic trilogy and officially signals the death of Disney Channel for me. If you want to try and honor what was established previously when doing a reboot, look at what Blue's Clues just did. That's how you do it, Disney. Yeah, okay, this looks interesting. Those opening shots, totally awesome. But if your story is trash, then I can't like you. I'm very skeptical, but this is something I'll just have to wait and see about. Especially since Jon Favreau isn't exactly on my good list since you know what happened. I was excited for an Obi-Wan spinoff because I like Ian McGregor and I love this character, but now that it's been announced, I'm really afraid they're gonna mess up the story. Needless backstory frustrates me beyond belief, so I hope the plot can justify this show's existence. I'm planning on this being bad. It doesn't help that these characters aren't visually appealing, and the concept seems way too similar to things made in the past. A modern world inhabited by monsters is something that's been done before. I hope they can do something new with it, although it doesn't look too good considering they were lazy enough to copy the poster design for Far From Home, also starring Tom Holland. If you're gonna be original, then please go all the way. Everyone's excited that Pixar is finally putting out some new content. It's too bad the plot of both movies they've announced looks so painfully similar to the concept of other movies. I don't know how this is going to turn out any different than Inside Out. I hope if anything that we get some great visuals with this because it does seem to be a pretty deep concept. When they first announced Marvel Land, I was pretty underwhelmed, and I still am, especially after seeing the layout for Phase 1. DCI is all over the place when it comes to theming, so I'm not holding out much hope for that aspect, but I just hope the land is actually fun to be in. I really like Marvel, but none of this stuff seems as groundbreaking as they're making it out to be. The new e-ticket attraction they just announced sounds exactly like Smuggler's Run, but Marvel instead of Star Wars. How is that exciting? More importantly, how exciting is it going to be when you go on this attraction for the 100th time, or how is it going to age in 80 years? I think the answer to both questions is a clearly negative one, and yet Disney continues to excitedly announce these IP attractions without acknowledging the expiration they have when the hype for that product dies down. I know they'll still exist and be talked about, but if they're putting you in a specific place and time, that's not going to hold up. This looks really awesome for the 0.5% of the population that can afford it. If Disney wants to wow us, why not normalize unique experiences like this? I'm not a big follower of Disney World news, so I have a hard time seeing this come together. I'm just happy they're shoving all of these IPs into the park over there and not in my Disneyland. They interrupted their own panel announcing big things like park news to bring you a live advertisement. Disney can't even hide their greedy obsession with money now. I know a lot of people are just blindly saying, "Yay, I shop at Target, this is great news." But seriously, we already know there's Disney merch there, why make it official? Disney shoves their presence in your face any chance they can. No doubt they're doing this as a way to make more money, but if they're going to continue down this path of joining their products with other businesses, that means moving away from their actual stores. Although I guess it really just depends on how official of a Disney store it will be. I'm just nervous this will be moving away from a lot of their other standalone experiences. Point is, Disney does continue to make everything based off IPs. They play it safe because playing it safe means less financial risk, and less financial risk means more profit. Everything ties back to money for them now. I find a way to mention this in every single video because it's so true. I can't rant about this hard enough. It is so beyond disgusting and sad that Disney cannot create anything original for their theme parks anymore. Pirates, Haunted Mansion, Small World, Big Thunder, these aren't IPs. They've had some things placed on top of them, but these attractions are timeless because they aren't connected to anything specific. Why should my great-great-grandchild be excited to meet Chewbacca? In 80 years, people can still admire the immersiveness of Galaxy's Edge and how it visually looks great, but that connection to what it's representing will be gone. That's how I'm already feeling about Marvel Land and a lot of the other groundbreaking things they just announced. It may be exciting to hear this now during a big fancy expo, but I don't plan on feeling that same excitement watching these new shows or visiting these new lands in 10 years' time. The only way I would have said this year was successful is if they announced a People Mover was coming back to Disneyland's Tomorrowland, but they didn't, so see you in 2 years, I guess.